So not so long ago, somehow, my mom and I, when we were out running errands or driving about, whatever, ended up coming up with the name Carson Cooper. And for whatever reason, it stuck. And I'm like, this has to be a character. So Carson Cooper is now a character of mine. Um, and because alliteration is something I adore to the utmost degree, um, I mean, I was playing with titles. I don't have a proper title. So right now, this is just the Carson Cooper series. um, you see, counting corn, creating chaos, crowned a king, and there's a reason for that last one. It has to do with an AI image. Anyway, we're not getting into that right now. Um, I'm just gonna read what I've written to post it, so I have something to put up. Okay. So, chapter one, the corn keep. Also, potentially the corn keeper, as in keeper of the corn, but I think corn keep works. Cornfields crowded on either side, cattle mooing as they grazed on the next plot down the dusty dirt road. Could the summer sun be more relentless than midday of their longest season? Did dancing air mean anything if no one else observed it, or was it as confounding as a tree fallen with the technicality of no human to hear the crash? Who could think at a time like this? And real quick, I do want to add in, I want a vibe to this that I think might already kind of be there. That is, let's call it Heartland emo. I guess you could also maybe say Midwestern emo, but I've recently discovered Midwestern emo is kind of a thing, and some of it is good, but it's not what it should be. I personally don't feel like this is supposed to be like Southern Gothic as like a would it be genre or setting or vibe or whatever, except for the Midwest of the United States, which you could also call the Heartland. And so that's kind of what we're growing for here. Instead of Southern Gothic, it's Heartland emo. The boy blinked what little sweat was left on his bronze brow as it slid into his eyes, stinging the red and whites all the more. Lanky and cast several shades darker by his own drench, his frame moved about the stalks with ears green and only a bit more growing to be done. Mazes were fun in the fall, come celebration of the heat waves breaking and plentiful harvest providing communal family feasts. But for now, there was nothing that would leave a native feeling at all amazed. Jungles and tundras, oceans and moons, the fellow grumbled. Plenty of planets in multiple dimensions, and I'm stuck here. Had he moisture left in his mouth, he'd spit, but all that was wet was outside of himself, and so he gasped, "Why was I forsaken to hell?" So yes. What is an angry cry without a god to witness it? Several sets of big blue eyes watched as he brought his sullied self onto the porch. Ripping off his outer layers, pale pinkish skin was exposed on his torso down to the waistline of his boxers, and from the edges of the leg holes down. This specific line here has gotten me so caught up multiple times because I keep thinking, because there's the whole farmer's tan thing, and I'm trying to. My mind keeps complicating it for myself. But most of him would be covered up most of the time. So when he's like, dirty, soiled in the sense of he's been out working in the fields in the hot humidity all day. Off, like, it's gonna be the pale sort of skin that's exposed, except for, where his boxers are, because he's still gotta stay covered up and polite. He shook his head to rinse out the wheat-colored hair, if only to spare the home shower from a little less yuck. "Let him through," a woman chimed. "It's just your brother, the same as always." "The only big brother you lot have got," he shot at the children as he passed through the doorway on his way toward the bathroom. So yes, he's just trying to track less mud through the house. One of the girls piped, "No, there's Cammy, too," her look-alike chirped. "Cam's never here." The brunette their age exaggerated exasperation. "Great, now Sissy's squabbling again." The triplets' tirade sounded like tornado sirens, but their older sibling paid no attention, nor did the chiding of their mother from the kitchen. Locked in the little tile room, he turned on the shower and waited for the hot flash to pass to cool currents before stepping under and washing. It's implied, of course, that, the boxes were removed before stepping under the shower, because, obviously. But he had to stay appropriate in front of siblings, because, of course, hair still spiked from his time in the shower had softened as had his temper since dinner was done. I should probably have a space here for a time skip, but whatever. Dishes handed to their mother, she chastised the younger ones for attempting to evade standing by as her aides. Cicadas, crickets, the creek not far downhill that ran into a cave somewhere under their feet. The night was noisy as usual. Keeping cool, came a call. He huffed without giving the house cat-sized griffin a glance. Can't till the leaves fall. The orange orbs of eyes looked out into the trees before refocusing on the boy. Black feathers and fur moved into the light from the doorway between porch and house so as to be clearly seen by the friendly human before approaching to curl about his long legs. Real quick, the orbs thing, yes, I know. I know it's kind of like, it used to be a thing and then it became funny and like cringy and then like you'd make fun of it and now it's just kind of like, oh, I can't believe we all did that. But I think it can be salvaged in this sort of sense and other similar senses if used properly. Anyway. And for a cat, I just felt like it worked fairly well in this way. Well, bird, cat, griffin thing. Where was I? Outwardly true, the cat-bird cooed, which I just really like saying that, the cat-bird cooed. But I meant inside of you. Had anyone ever suffocated from a long sigh? The moon hung high when he muttered, I have to. And then there's a time skip and break, because I don't think I'm going to end the chapter there, but I might. And then the next bit, we come in and we find out the twin girls of the triplet. So the triplets are 2 girls and a boy. The girls being identical and identical twins, basically. They're Evie and Ellie, Evelyn and Eleanor. And the idea is to start off here. Evie and Ellie were braiding their browning blonde curls. So they're the types who are like, they're born blonde and then their hair gets darker to the point where they're brunettes of some shade when they're older. Whereas their triplet, the brother of the 3 of them, he's already brunette. Their older brother, Carson, is a blonde, kind of, not quite dirty blonde, but just one of the more subtle kinds of blonde, the softer blondes. And then their other brother, Cameron, he's actually a redhead, a ginger, but he hasn't been introduced exactly just yet, or at least not how he looks, whatever. But I already have stuff going on. And I just think this is fun, and I'm pretty actually excited for where I'm going with it, which I'm not going to share too much about just yet. I will say, though, as you can kind of tell from, if I go to, which line was it? Here. Jungles and tundras, oceans and moons, the fellow grumbled. Plenty of planets and multiple dimensions, and I'm stuck here. And then blah, blah, blah. Why was I forsaken to hell? What is an angry cry without God to witness it? So, this is both fantasy as well as science fiction. And I know there's already overlap. You can be like, oh, science fiction already is a kind of fantasy or whatever. And they already play into each other. But I mean that in that, for example, there will be both aliens as well as fairy tale folkloric types creatures, like angels and demons type stuff, and maybe even other things. There's science, there's also magic, and it all kind of interplays. And in some, I guess I could briefly explain it best in the sort of sentiment. Anyone who's aware of, alternative media or culture war type stuff, the Daily Wire in particular might have heard, with Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh going, oh, it's aliens, or no, the aliens are demons. Walsh being pro-alien, Knowles being, they're not aliens, they're demons, but they're using that facade to get to us in this era, which, both have valid points. Okay, fine. And then I'm here like, guys, why not both? And that's kind of how this story is going to play out, where there's both. Yeah, there's magic, there's going to be the witchcraft, there's also going to be the science and advanced life forms, extraterrestrial life and their technology and intelligence, etc. Okay? And I'm just going to have fun with it, because what's the point if it's not fun? In this one, at least. And Carson Cooper. Right now, he counts corn because he's a corn keep. He's gonna create some chaos, and by golly, by the end of this thing, he might even be crowned king. Only time will tell. Or if I actually finish this, will we find out. But for now, that's gonna be that. And, I'll talk to Jill later. Thanks.